When you're 18, speed feels like the point. You try to fix life by moving faster than doubt. Later, you learn direction beats speed, and a little useful friction keeps you from sliding off the road. You don't need slogans. You need normal people to show you how small choices turn into rails you can hold when days get rough. That's how a calendar becomes a tool you use on purpose instead of a list that uses you. Start with one morning move that doesn't ask how you feel. A tram mechanic I watched rolled the depot door at 5, tapped the same steel beam with 2 fingers, and ran a diagnostic sequence that never changed. The city might still be asleep or already angry. The sequence was the sequence. He wasn't chasing virtue. He was reducing decisions before dawn, so his mind could spend fuel on repair instead of negotiation. You will hear that mornings are for motivation. They are for automation. Choose one action. Stretch on the floorboards. Read a page aloud. Grind beans by hand. Then protect it from weather and sentiment. Make it boring. Boring things done at the same time carry more weight. Learn in public. Don't wait for perfection. You cannot become excellent in private. The world is a hard floor, and it is where the best lessons live. A juggler who practiced at the edge of a weekend market used to drop clubs in front of impatient shoppers. He did not apologize or flourish to disguise the miss. He bent, retrieved, reset, and continued at the same pace. Children giggled, vendors smirked, and month by month the gaps between drops stretched into long ribbons until the giggling stopped and the smirks turned to coins. Public embarrassment speeds up public competence. Seek out arenas where failure is recoverable and visible, then stay long enough so rhythm takes the place of pride. Treat money like stored time, not a scoreboard. Think of it as time you can stack in a jar and pour later. The grocer who raises his shutter before sunrise buys boxes of produce with yesterday's revenue and keeps a ledger so clean it looks like a prayer. He knows every unnecessary purchase, steals hours from a winter morning when he would rather stay home. Read your account as days instead of digits. Save for room to maneuver, not for trophies. If you can translate a purchase into how many mornings it costs, you will buy fewer apologies and more freedom. Pick people by what they do under stress, not what they say when relaxed. In the backstage corridors of a community theater, there is a stage manager whose name you might never learn, and yet the entire show rests on the accuracy of her instincts. When a cue is missed and the house goes dim, she does not shout. She takes one breath, checks the glow tape with her fingertips, slides props to new locations so actors can find them in darkness, and makes the ugly moment look designed. That is a default, not a performance. Choose collaborators who lower panic simply by entering the room and become one. Quit sooner. Endurance is not always noble. Leave a major that starves your curiosity. Leave a project that teaches you to lie gently. Leave a room that only amplifies your worst voice. You do not owe permanence to a bad bet. The longer loyalty you should protect is to your capacity to begin again without a barrel of explanation. Guard silence, real silence. Solitude is not the absence of people. It is the presence of unpoliced thought. It drowns your inner monologue until you learn to listen to the quiet voice that rarely shouts, even when it is right. You need that voice. It is the one that notices when you are changing your values to keep a table. It is the one that predicts, 2 steps early, which invitations are traps. 10 protected minutes can prevent a year-long detour. Make forgiveness a policy. You will be tempted to shape grudges into proof you are not to be trifled with, but they will choke the room you need for building. At a crowded intersection, a cyclist put a foot down and motioned a flustered driver ahead. The gesture took a second and saved a minute of honking and pride. Keep a small box in your head labeled charges I refuse to file and put into it the late reply, the mild slight, the colleague who forgot your name. This isn't saintliness. It is strategy. Drag is expensive. Let minor offenders pay their own price somewhere else, while you invest your attention where it compounds. Tie your body to winds you can feel. A jump rope coiled by the door, and 2 songs worth of skipping before breakfast will open your shoulders like a window. This is truer than a month of heroic intentions that dies in week 2. Sleep like someone is paying you. Put your device outside the room. and let boredom do its old job of lowering your pulse. The chemistry of a quiet night will make you kinder, more accurate, and harder to sway. You will still have days charred at the edges. Sleep is how the burn stops spreading. Give fear a job so it stops yelling. Offer it a job. A tower crane operator easing a glass panel into a windy frame counts micro moves in batches of 7, not because 7 is sacred, but because counting gives fear a pencil and a clipboard and a task called keep track. When your mouth dries before you speak, name the dryness and take a sip, as if obeying a stage direction. You will feel the lights of panic dim as your nervous system recognizes sequence. When you interview, ask one concrete question about the work today, not a sweeping question about destiny. Specifics are bridges that fear can cross without roaring. If you cannot remove dread, you can teach it to carry clipboards and close doors gently behind you. Build a name you only spend in emergencies. An elevator technician who answers at 2 in the morning without padding a bill owns a lever longer than his wrench. One night, a family calls from a stuck car, and he arrives in 10 minutes. And years later, the same family signs a contract without rereading because his name has become shorthand for keeps word when it's dark. That is reputation. It accrues the way sediment does. Quietly, with weight, meaning accrues the same way when treated as ritual instead of revelation. The ceramicist arrives when stars are still out, not because dawn is mystical, but because the kiln's heating curve requires precision daily. Feed one corner of your life with unhurried attention each day, writing a page, repairing a hinge, asking a fuller question at dinner, learning a paragraph of a language you want to live inside, and let the calendar turn that attention into something heavy enough to stand on. And hey, here's some bonus advice. You will meet people who float. Don't float with them. They will say they wake when their spirit wakes, and work when they feel like it. They will sell seminars with verbs that sparkle, smile, pay for your tea, and go home to put your shoes by the door at the angle you will need them at 5. The floating will end when the market shifts. Your shoes will still be there. That will matter. So, you are not behind. You are not late. You are not a disappointment because you don't know your banner yet. Banners are fabric. They blow whichever way the crosswind insists. What you can know now is how to lay one brick and return tomorrow to lay another. What you can practice now is leaving a room cleaner than you found it and a conversation clearer than it began. What you can swear now is that you will not let your feed decide your schedule or your fear decide your ethics. Years from today, you will walk past a cafe that looks a little like this one. The paint peeled, the same thin light falling across the same wobbly tables, and you will look at your hands and recognize them as hands that keep their word to you. It will not feel like fireworks. It will feel like a key turning in a lock you have used for so long that you can do it in the dark. That is adulthood, not knowing everything, not even knowing much, but walking with a pace you chose on purpose and a reputation heavy enough to bear weight when the weather turns.